Do you believe that your dog or cat is really getting the best food possible? In this eye-opening video, find out why the BARF diet can transform your pet's health, fight silent diseases, and restore vitality, disposition, and even the sparkle in your eyes. Learn the truth behind the pet food industry, see how to set up a natural meal at home, and understand why so many owners are changing the way they feed their pets. Based on real data, expert veterinarians, and practical tips, this is a complete guide, without the fuss and with everything you need to know. Watch until the end and see how a simple change can save lives. If you love your pet, this video is a must. From the earliest days of domestication, dogs and cats fed on what they hunted. Their instincts have been shaped for millennia to process raw meat, bones, organs, and small amounts of vegetables that came from the stomachs of their prey. However, at some point in modern history, this link was broken, and ultra-processed foods invaded the bowls. Today, many owners believe they are doing the best for their animals by offering colorful, crunchy, and nutritionally balanced dry food. But behind the eye-catching labels and marketing promises, there's a quiet truth. Most of these foods contain ingredients that a dog or cat would never find in the wild. BARF food, an acronym for biologically appropriate raw food, has been gaining strength precisely for this reason, for rescuing the natural and evolutionary diet of pets. The concept goes beyond offering raw meat. It represents a return to the origins, a reconnection with what the animal's body really needs to thrive. BARF is muscle meat, ground raw bones, enzyme-rich giblets, plus fresh crushed vegetables and natural supplements that simulate a full prey. It is a meal that respects the animal metabolism, stimulates chewing, strengthens immunity, and transforms the body from the inside out. Owners who have switched to BARF report noticeable improvements within the first few weeks. The coat becomes shinier, the odor of feces decreases dramatically, energy increases, and even behavioral issues begin to change. Anxious dogs become more centered, selective cats return to eating with desire, and chronic food allergies disappear almost miraculously. But what's behind it isn't a miracle, it's pure biology. When the body is offered what it recognizes as true food, the response is immediate. The intestine, considered today the second brain of mammals, begins to function in harmony. And where there is a healthy gut, there is strong immunity, stable behavior, and disease prevention. Still, many people are hesitant. The fear of raw meat, the myths about bacteria, the fear of not knowing how to balance, all this prevents thousands of owners from experiencing what can be the key to the longevity of their animals. But the truth is that with minimal guidance, BARF is simple. It doesn't require expensive ingredients, it doesn't need magic formulas. It only requires attention to what nature has already taught us. Carnivorous animals need real food. And the farther away from the factory and closer to instinct, the better. The most common mistakes in dog and cat food are related to the composition of dry food. Much of it is made with reprocessed meat and bone meal, chemical additives, synthetic antioxidants, and plant byproducts, such as corn and soybeans on a large scale. Although these ingredients extend shelf life and reduce costs, they create an inflammatory environment within the animal's body. In the long term, problems such as obesity, diabetes, kidney problems, dermatitis, hair loss, and even cancer arise. And it is precisely for this reason that more and more veterinarians specializing in functional nutrition are recommending BARF as a preventive and therapeutic form. Another powerful aspect of the BARF diet lies in the sensory stimulation it provides. While dry food is monotonous with the same smell and texture for years, BARF brings variety, temperature, aroma, and chewing challenge. This activates areas of the brain linked to well-being, satiety, and pleasure, creating a positive, rich, and stimulating eating experience. In cats, for example, this is essential to prevent boredom eating, stress, and the consequent development of urinary diseases. And most importantly, by feeding with BARF, the tutor takes on a more conscious role in the animal's life. He observes, smells the food, cuts the ingredients with his own hands, assembles portions. This creates a direct link with the pet's health, something that no sealed package can offer. The relationship changes. The tutor is no longer just a feed server and becomes an active caregiver, present and connected to the vitality of his animal. In this video, we'll show you what the industry doesn't want you to know. We'll dive into the real benefits of BARF, demystify the most common fears, present scientific studies that support this approach, and teach you how to get started safely, simply, and effectively. Because your pet deserves more than a pack of dried balls. He deserves to truly live, with energy, health, connection, and joy. For many owners, the moment they decide to transition from a kibble to BARF doesn't start with a food choice. It's with a fright. An unexpected diagnosis, an altered exam, a recurring skin disease, or simply the dull look of the animal that no longer plays. That's when the question arises, is the food he eats sickening rather than nourishing? And most of the time the answer is yes. Experienced veterinarians have warned that industrialized dry food, although practical, does not respect the digestive physiology of dogs and cats. As much as it is enriched with synthetic vitamins, it does not replace the bioavailability of real nutrients. When an animal consumes raw meat with bones, organs, and vegetables, it is ingesting live enzymes, natural fats, minerals in their original form, functional amino acids, and good bacteria that feed the gut flora. It is a food ecosystem. And that changes everything. Imagine a dog's gut as a large garden. With the right food, this garden flourishes. The good bacteria multiply, the immune system is strengthened, the hormones are balanced. But with ultra-processed ingredients and artificial additives, the soil becomes poorer. Weeds begin to appear, dysbiosis, inflammation, allergies, compulsive behaviors. BARF, in this sense, is not just food. It is a deep intestinal rebalancing strategy. Recent scientific evidence indicates that dogs fed with a natural diet have a lower incidence of kidney, dental, liver, and joint diseases. Cats show a significant reduction in urinary problems, obesity, and diabetes. In addition, studies indicate that the pH of the urine of animals on the BARF diet tends to remain at optimal levels, which prevents the formation of crystals and stones, something common in pets that only eat dry food. There is also another important point: chewing. In nature, chewing on pieces of flesh and bones takes effort. This process stimulates saliva production, strengthens jaw muscles, cleans teeth, and reduces tartar. Dogs that chew raw bones in a controlled manner rarely need dental cleaning in clinics. Tartar disappears naturally. Dry food, on the other hand, contrary to what many think, does not clean the teeth. It breaks easily, dissolves quickly, and leaves residues that favor the accumulation of bacteria. That's why so many dogs and cats with clean mouths start to have bad breath and dental problems over time, even eating premium food. Introduction to BARF should be gradual. The ideal is to start with easily digestible proteins, such as chicken or turkey, include giblets such as liver and heart in small amounts, add ground raw bones, never cooked, and crushed vegetables such as pumpkin, carrots, spinach, and broccoli. Natural supplements such as fish oil, turmeric, kefir, and raw egg can enrich the diet, always respecting the appropriate proportions. There are nutritional calculators for this, and specialized veterinarians can offer individualized plans. Another common myth is the fear of contamination. But the truth is that dogs and cats have extremely acidic digestive systems, evolutionarily prepared to deal with bacteria that would be dangerous to humans. When handled hygienically, raw meat offers less risk than you might think. Choosing reliable suppliers and proper storage are enough to keep everything safe. Many owners report that after the transition, the animals begin to sleep better, have firmer and smaller stools, stop vomiting frequently, and regain their appetite. In cases of rescue, BARF has been used as a nutritional recovery protocol. Malnourished puppies, traumatized adults, and even elderly animals with chronic diseases show surprising improvement when they return to eating according to their species. The emotional impact is also profound. When the tutor realizes that he's offering a live meal, prepared with care, which awakens joy in the animal's eyes and visibly transforms its health, something changes. A sense of true responsibility arises, a link of conscious care. And that's what makes BARF a quiet revolution. It's not just about what goes in the bowl, but about how we see our animals. Not as objects of consumption, but as living beings who trust us to live well. Putting together a BARF menu doesn't have to be a challenge. We start with the principle of proportion. About 70% of the meal should be made up of bone-in meats, such as raw chicken necks, wings, or ground beef with crushed bones. 20% must be viscera and organs, such as the liver, heart, and gizzard. The remaining 10% are crushed or lightly steamed raw vegetables, such as squash, carrots, spinach, or zucchini. The secret is in variety and balance. You don't have to put everything in a single meal. The animal's body understands the balance throughout the days, not on each plate. The basic recipe can be as follows. For a medium-sized dog weighing about 20 kilos, 300 grams of meat with bone, 90 grams of offal, and 45 grams of vegetables are used. To this, you can add a teaspoon of fish or coconut oil, a pinch of turmeric with black pepper, a raw egg with crushed shell, and a tablespoon of unsweetened kefir or natural yogurt. Everything should be stored in individual portions in the freezer and thawed naturally before serving, without using a microwave. The ideal shopping list includes raw chicken neck, beef or chicken liver, beef heart, fresh ground beef, eggs, carrots, pumpkin, spinach, plain yogurt, fish oil, turmeric, and kefir. It is possible to assemble weekly kits for an affordable price, often cheaper than super premium feed. In large cities, there are butchers and suppliers specializing in meat for animal consumption that offer already portioned cuts. For those who prefer practicality, there are companies that sell ready-made, frozen, balanced, and certified BARF. In the case of cats, the proportion is similar, but with fewer vegetables and a greater focus on animal proteins and taurine, an essential amino acid. For them, the texture of the meat is important, ground or finely chopped, as cats have very specific preferences. Including liver and heart frequently is vital. Taurine supplementation may be necessary in some cases. Adaptation is usually slower, but the benefits are even more visible. Improved hair, mood, urinary, and digestive functions. It is important to reinforce that the transition must be made progressively, always observing the animal's reactions. In the first few days, there may be mild diarrhea or strangeness of the new texture and flavor. This is normal. The body is detoxifying and adapting to the real food. In a short time, the animal's energy changes, the eyes shine brighter, the appetite improves, and the behavior stabilizes. Veterinarians specializing in functional and integrative nutrition argue that BARF is, in fact, a return to the essence. It is treating animals as complete biological beings with specific needs that cannot be met by dry and ultra-processed products. The feed industry, despite bringing advances in food safety, cannot replace what nature has created over thousands of years of carnivorous evolution. Adopting the BARF is also a political act. It is to get out of the logic of fast consumption, standardization, nutritional ignorance. It is taking the lead in your pet's health. It's looking him in the eye and saying with actions that he deserves the best. And the best in this case comes from the land, the butcher, the market, not from the colorful bag on the supermarket shelf. As you finish this video, you may be feeling just that, a calling, a desire to change, to learn, to care more deeply. Start small. Read, talk, study, and try it. BARF isn't a fad diet, it's a quiet revolution. A revolution that starts with a single question. What if I give him what he really needs? Because, in the end, the biggest transformation doesn't happen in the bowl, it happens inside you. Did you like the content? Leave it in the comments. Did you already know the BARF diet? Share this video with those who love animals and want the best for them. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss tips that can transform your pet's life.